everybody! SweetBananaGaming here, all decked out in some winter clothes because even here in Florida, when it gets time for the holidays, the weather drops down to a pleasantly cool 62 degrees, but as far as I'm concerned, that's cold enough. Anyway, the reason I'm here is to participate in Bird Keeper Toby's Wants to Battle Tag 2016. I had a look at the questions that Toby wanted us to answer, and I thought it would be a fun little way to participate and let you guys know a little bit more about me and about my hopes for the channel in the future, and so, let's go to it. Question number 1 is, what was your favorite part of the Pokemon 20th anniversary? I can see we're starting off with the tough one right off the bat. Well, there were in fact many things that happened during this Pokemon 20th anniversary. It really was a great year for Pokemon. For me personally, in my life, was not the best year I've ever had, but for Pokemon, it was amazing. Between the merchandise, the mythical Pokemon giveaways, the re-releases of Red, Blue, and Yellow, Pokemon Generations, Pokemon Sun and Moon, even Pokemon Go, there was just no stopping the Pokemon hype this year. And while I'd have to include the Pokemon merchandise, the Red, Blue, and Yellow releases, and Pokemon Generations as among some of my top favorite things about this year, I would have to give the nod to Pokemon Sun and Moon just because new Pokemon game, new generation, and Game Freak tried to switch up so much with the Pokemon formula. A few things were misses, sure, but I think in general, just the big risks that they took in making all of these huge, unprecedented changes to the Pokemon formula while still keeping it at its very core a Pokemon game, that deserves a lot of credit. And Sun and Moon really are just a celebration of Pokemon in and of themselves. In the games, you feel like the Pokemon are just part of the world, more so than ever before. You can interact with them in more ways than ever before. Poke-Ride! Goodbye, HM slaves, we have Poke-Ride now! Although, granted, I guess the Poke-Ride Pokemon are the very epitome of HM slaves, since they literally only exist to cart you around, but let's not worry about that. The main thing is, you can plan out your team of 6 without having to worry about which Pokemon can learn that move, and that move, and that move. It's a big improvement. Question number 2, what is your favorite Pokemon from Sun and Moon? Yet another tough one, because I think that the designs in Sun and Moon were some of the strongest that they've ever been, at least in my opinion, as a whole. Every generation has had great Pokemon, and every generation, including 7th generation, has had lesser design Pokemon, just in general, hits and misses. Everybody has hits and misses, but I think as a percentage of the Pokemon introduced in the 7th generation was ridiculously strong with their designs. Not to mention having a seemingly disproportionate amount of Pokemon that didn't evolve, which I think is weird, but in one way I kind of like it because this means that Game Freak wasn't trying to just make up more Pokemon just so a Pokemon would have an evolution line. If they had a concept that they liked, then they just went with it. Oh, this is a one-off, boom, there it is. And in most cases they kept the stats pretty good so that they're viable, because usually a lot of Pokemon that don't evolve are not as viable stat-wise as a Pokemon with a 3-stage evolution. Not in every case, but in a lot of cases. But in this case, most of the single-stage Pokemon were pretty strong. Even Pyukumuku can be sweep-worthy, I guess, if you have enough patience. Anyway, getting back to the question of which one was my favorite, I would say that Pokemon like Salandit, Litten, Rowlet, and Silvally make it really high onto the list, but I gotta be honest, number 1, without a doubt, has to be Mimikyu. You could almost consider Mimikyu kind of a twist on the traditional Pikachu clone that happens in every generation. Granted, we had Togedemaru was the proper Pikachu clone, but here you have a Ghost Fairy Pokemon, a great typing, that disguises itself to look like Pikachu. But in my opinion, Mimikyu, you're better than Pikachu. Blasphemy, I know. But Mimikyu is one of those single-stage Pokemon I was talking about that is a really great Pokemon. It's got pretty decent stats all around, with its main strength being in special defense, but it's got good enough speed and attack that you could really do some damage with this thing. And the disguise ability is amazing. It's like a free substitute. You're seeing Mimikyu on a whole lot of Gen 7 competitive teams, and it's not hard to see why. I really liked Mimikyu from the moment it was first revealed, and its strength in-game did not disappoint. In fact, it exceeded my expectations. Mimikyu is my favorite. Question number 3, which video are you most proud of making this year? Well, this is gonna be a 2-part answer. Number 1 is not so much a video, but a series I've started, a more recent thing, the How To Competitive series. For a couple years now, I've been doing this YouTube thing and kind of trying to find my niche. I knew I liked doing Let's Plays to some extent, and I knew that my main focus would be Pokemon because that's the thing I know the most about in the gaming world. But it was always hard to kind of find a thing that I thought, yeah, this video is serving a really good purpose. Even with the Sweet Speculation theories, I didn't think I was serving as good of a purpose as I did when I started the How to Competitive series. For someone like me who's loved Pokemon for a long time, pretty much since the beginning, but never really wanted to get into competitive battling because of either fear of it being too complicated or not having enough time, any of that. But when Gen 7 came along, I kind of made the decision, you know what? I want to give this thing a try. And I've learned a lot just from watching other YouTubers who did ORAS battles, and I got some of the theory behind competitive battling down pat. And now with Gen 7, I just feel like, alright, it's a clean slate, I can start to get into this thing and see how I can do. And in the process, I'm learning so much, and I just feel like there are many, many people out there like me who have loved Pokemon but just never got into competitive battling, but would like to if only they knew how. So this is what the How to Competitive series is for. This is a step-by-step guide. We started off, the episodes that are up right now as I'm recording this are the how to chain for a perfect IV Ditto, and how to use that Ditto to breed for perfect IVs. Those 2 episodes are up, probably more will be up by the time that this video goes up. It still remains to be seen what kind of reception this series will have in the long run, but in the short run I feel like I'm really serving a purpose with my videos, and that's really fulfilling. It took me this long to realize that I've been recording with my headphones in, and I have no reason to. Alright. And part 2 to my answer to this question, another video that I am pretty proud of is the Sweet Speculation that I did about why Fungus has a Pokeball pattern. And I'm bringing this one up not only because I'm pretty satisfied with the connection that I made and the argument that I made, but given that this whole wants to battle tag thing was a creation of Bird Keeper Toby, I figured that this one was appropriate to mention because Bird Keeper Toby actually liked and commented on my video. And you know you've got a pretty good Pokemon theory on your hands when Bird Keeper Toby thinks it's worth his attention. By the way, Toby, I'd love to collab anytime. Let me know. Anyway, question number 4. What is the coolest bit of Pokemon merch you got this year? Now, based on watching Toby's video, I'm gonna kind of create 2 categories, one for official Pokemon merchandise and one for unofficial Pokemon merchandise. As far as official Pokemon merchandise goes, I mainly was into collecting plushes. One of them here was a Gumi plush that I found at Target, I want to say. And I don't think I've ever mentioned it before, but Gumi is like my favorite Gen 6 Pokemon, the whole Gumi line. I love them so much. They're just squishy and gooey and adorable little dragons. And second is this 20th anniversary Victini plush here. I actually got a few different pieces of 20th anniversary merchandise. Like, I got a 20th anniversary Pikachu plush and 20th anniversary Pikachu figurines. But this one was cool for me because Victini is the victory Pokemon and I am a competitive athlete. More on that later. I was wandering around Toys R Us one day looking for Sun and Moon plushes, and I found this whole aisle of just the 20th anniversary mythical Pokemon plushes. And let me tell you, it was a hard decision on which one to pick. As far as overall quality of the plushes, I think the Manaphy one was actually the best. And Celebi is probably my favorite mythical Pokemon, but I already have a good plush of that one. So I've always kind of had a soft spot for Victini being the victory Pokemon, so I went with that one. And finally, we have my first and so far only Sun and Moon plush, Litten. So these things are getting increasingly hard to come by in stores and online, I guess. Story of how I found this one was I was wandering around GameStop one day, and I had been constantly checking GameStop because I heard, oh, they have the Gen 7 starters at select GameStops. Keep checking GameStop and see if they show up at yours. So I went in one day, and the only 2 plushes that were left were 2 Litten plushes. So instantly I'm like, alright, I've got to get this one. I got one for me, and I got one for a friend, and that was it. That has been the last I have seen of any Gen 7 plushes in stores. And I thought, no big deal, I guess I'll order Rowlet and Poplio from PokemonCenter.com. Surprise, surprise! As of right now, the Rowlet and Poplio plushes in this size are sold out on PokemonCenter.com as well. So, looks like it'll just be me and Litten for a while. But I don't mind, because Litten is just... it's adorable. Reminds me of my cat. The expression on his face reminds me of my cat as well. Now, for unofficial merchandise, we have this Meowth plush, which they sell at a Japanese-themed store that is next to my local GameStop. The store has a bunch of plushes made by this company. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's Olifactory or Olifactory. You can find them online as well. They're kind of hit or miss. Some of their plushes are pretty obviously we're trying not to infringe copyright on this Pokemon. But then other ones are actually really good quality. I mean, this Meowth is great. It's better than the official Meowth plush that I have. I love it so much. And finally, we have a Gourgeist plush, which I found at MegaCon. Gourgeist and Pumpkaboo rank pretty high, probably just behind Goomy on my favorite Gen 6 Pokemon. And I like pumpkins and Halloween and pumpkin food, and Gourgeist is pretty much just the trick-or-treat Pokemon. This does look like it could be a licensed Gourgeist, but I'm not sure. I feel like it's not. But, I mean, look at this thing. It looks well-proportioned and well done enough to be official. And even though I said finally, I want to add one more thing. Just a couple weeks ago, I got this phone case with Pokemon on it. It's not the most awesome thing in the world, I guess, as far as the overall design on it. It's pretty standard, uses standard artwork, but I like it. I needed a phone case, and this one, it was like, I got it on sale, so it was like $5 or $6. But usually the $5 or $6 phone cases that you get that have your favorite characters on them are really cheap and not very protective, but this one's pretty nice. It has like rubber grip, and it seems pretty secure on the phone. So far so good. Good deal. Question number 5. What has been the best Pokemon video you've seen this year? And I'm gonna have to agree with Bird Keeper Toby on this one. I absolutely could not get enough of Loxton's The End of Pokemon theory. If you hadn't checked them out already, you should go ahead and look for them. The series is a handful of 20-minute to 2-hour-long videos, all making this grand unified theory about all these references to alchemy, numerology, biblical references, essentially almost any reference to something cultural, alchemic, or religious in the Pokemon franchise. And it's pretty insane. Now, in the theory, he's trying to come to the conclusion that Pokemon Sun and Moon are going to lead to this big reboot of the Pokemon series, and he even makes some predictions about the plot of Sun and Moon. Now that Sun and Moon have been out for a little bit, we can kind of look with hindsight and see that there were certain things that weren't quite on the mark, and admittedly, there were a lot of stretches made in the theory, but I do think that the overall theme of the theory, even though the part about the reboot may or may not be true still, all of the alchemic references, all of the references in Pokemon, if you watch these videos, your mind will be blown a million times over. I mean, there might be a few stretches in there, and the predictions that he makes in them are admittedly stretches, but all of these references, most of these references seem really plausible and pretty obvious when you go back and see, oh, this means this. I think, I don't know, it's an amazing series. I like overanalyzing things because that's what I do in my daily life. So kudos to Loxton. I think it took an amazing amount of work, from the researching to the script writing, recording, editing, just amazing. There were other great Pokemon videos out there this year, but that tops it for me. Question number 6. What should viewers expect from you in 2017? This is another bit of a complicated answer, because I need to give you all an update. Starting next year, I'm going back to school. Kinda. I'm mainly just taking a couple classes at a time. I'm going towards a professional certificate, just trying to supplement the things I already learned in my bachelor's, but target it toward a more marketable skill set without getting too far into it. So it's not going to be a huge drain on my time, I don't imagine, but it is going to be there. So that might affect my time management a little bit. My upload schedule might end up not being as frequent, but I am still going to try to keep a 1 video a week minimum, because I think I can manage at least that. It's worth pointing out that during the early parts of the year, from about February through September-ish, I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling here and there and going to be busy, and that's not just this year, that's kind of every year, because in addition to this and going to school, I've been a competitive artistic roller skater for more than half of my life now. If you've ever seen the figure skaters on ice skates, our sport is basically like that, but on roller skates. Hopefully I put a video clip of me somewhere, or a picture or something during this, so you can see an example of it. But yeah, it's a real thing, and I compete at the world level, still trying to go for that top 3 spot. So that's my other major time commitment, but again, that's not new, but just throughout the cycle of the year. Right now, I'm pretty heavy in my amount of uploads and streams because I'm in the off season. When I get back in the on season, that's when you might expect a dip in frequency of videos, maybe once a week for a lot of the time. Also because I'll have to try to record a lot of stuff in advance for when I travel. But anyway, on to the actual content of 2017. I'm definitely going to continue my Pokemon Moon Nuzlocke and finish that, of course. I also want to do some more Sweet Speculation. There's one or two other topics I want to talk about from Sun and Moon. And then also, since the 20th anniversary of Pokemon will be done, I want to kind of go back and explore theories in other games. I know right now off the top of my head I have a couple of ideas for Pikmin theories that I could do, but you can probably still expect a lot of Pokemon theories because that's the thing I know the most about. I'm also considering maybe bringing back the Challenge Banana, which is a really short-lived series that I did where I would do these challenges online, like the 151 Pokemon Challenge. Have I done another one? I forget if I've done another one yet. It's been so long since I've done it. But I'm considering doing it because if I want to keep a consistent upload pace, those are fairly quick and easy to do if I'm just really busy and I need videos to go out in advance. And they're kind of fun. Test your knowledge. How well do you know this Pokemon, that Pokemon, or maybe some non-Pokemon related challenges. Now, I'm not gonna do anything on the painful or dangerous side, so no jalapeno challenges or whatever those things are, just fun little challenges, because I'm not in the business of putting myself in pain for people's enjoyment. I already do that in skating. Also, definitely after my Pokemon Moon Nuzlocke is done, but maybe even sooner than that, I am going to return to my Mario Maker series on playing viewer levels. That's sort of a constant on my channel. Whenever I'm in between main gameplay series, I'm always going to default back to that. I have a nice little interaction with my viewers when I do that, so it's just a fun little side series that I like to do. As far as other gameplay series in the future, we'll have to see, but one thing you should all know, if you remember the collab channel Team Eclipse, which I have been a part of since the beginning, we're getting a reboot of sorts. Basically now I'm in charge of the channel all by myself, and I'm going to bring in new members. So I've got about 3 new members I think that are going to be on board. We're going to be starting in the new year. So definitely go ahead and check that out. I'm hoping to bring some new life to the channel. I'm trying to keep it going as best I can, but I still want it to be a collab channel. So go ahead and check it out. I'm pretty excited to see where that goes. And question number 7, not so much of a question, but name a channel with less subscribers than you that you think your viewers would like. I'll go ahead and pick Pika Plays HD, not just because I've asked him to join the rebooted Team Eclipse, but if you like the general style and pacing of my Pokemon Let's Plays, you'll probably enjoy his channel as well. Go ahead and give him a look. And last but not least, tag 3 more people to do this Wants to Battle tag. Well, I'm gonna go with Pika Plays HD because I've already mentioned him, and also I'd like to mention 2 of my former colleagues from Team Eclipse, Ovi and Mystic Umbreon. And if you guys haven't checked out their channels yet, you should definitely go and do it. They've got some really enjoyable content on there. Alright, so that's gonna do it for this Wants to Battle Tag 2016. This is my first time doing this, but I kinda had a good time just talking about stuff and sharing my year in review of this, the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. Pokemon has been potentially the biggest influence in my life, compared to any other video game or element of pop culture at least. So it's been a weird year for sure, but definitely a fantastic Pokemon year. I'll be kind of sad when it's over, but I'm really excited for things to happen in the future, as well as the potentially rumored Switch port of Sun and Moon, which maybe, if you believe the data mine leaks, might include Pokemon following you around in the overworld. I hope. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.